This is trying to jail Trump for, in the least, having the gall to exercise his, again, First Amendment rights to petition his government, and obviously his duties and responsibilities as president. Part of this suppression, part of this election interference also involves, moving on to the next topic, the effort to jail Trump and other innocent Americans by the Biden-Harris regime and their Democratic Party allies, prosecutors and judges in jurisdictions like Georgia and in New York. And Jack Smith, in a show of utter contempt for the rule of law, free and fair elections, in the Supreme Court and the U.S. Constitution, re-indicted Trump this week. Re-indicted him. Now, this is what the status of his investigations or non-investigations are, because I think they were all just political. Judge Cannon in Florida, in the sham documents case, found him to be an unconstitutional appointee, and therefore his investigation's invalid, and she threw out the whole case. So he's desperately trying to appeal that. Up here in Washington, D.C., the Supreme Court eviscerated his first indictment of Trump as being unconstitutional in large measure, and rather than run away and go home or, basically shut it down, he doubled down and re-indicted him just 60 days or so before the election, pretending to comply with the Supreme Court's ruling that Trump has, and every president has, immunity from prosecution for official acts as a president. And what he did, I've carefully reviewed this new re-indictment, or what is technically, it's not technically, it's literally called a superseding indictment. It's the same damn charges, pardon my language. He took out a few paragraphs and a few pages where it was clear he was alleging that the president did something as president that he should be thrown in jail for, and he supposedly cleaned it up that way, while leaving all sorts of other material in there that is a thumb of the nose at the Supreme Court, because it clearly involves his duties and responsibilities as president. He's essentially trying to throw Trump in jail for disputing the election, and dare I say it, doing what a president is obligated to do pursuant to his oath of office, to make sure the laws are being faithfully executed and that the elections were being lawfully run here in Washington, D.C. and in the several states. He had a positive moral obligation, constitutional obligation as president, and he's trying to throw him in jail for doing that. 60-plus days before the election. I mean, you read the indictment. I encourage you to read the indictment. It reads like something the DNC or MSNBC wrote. It's not lawful. It's a political polemic. Here was my immediate reaction to it the other day. Another outrageous abuse of power today by the Biden-Harris regime with the re-indictment of President Trump. The Biden Justice Department, Jack Smith, etc., not satisfied with losing already before the Supreme Court with an unconstitutional abusive indictment, has pretended that changing a few words would make the indictment okay. It isn't. This was an illegal act. This was a political act, an indictment of the number one candidate for president just 2 weeks or so before the first votes are cast. Who are they fooling? This is one of the worst abuses of power, this whole lawfare, this effort to rig the elections through illicit prosecutions by the Democratic Party politicians and their bureaucratic appointees has never been seen before in American history. And so Judicial Watch will continue the heavy lifting to expose the truth about what's going on here. And of course, Congress should defund this whole mess. And let's hope the courts again step in and preserve the rule of law. Yeah, this is trying to jail Trump for, in the least, having the gall to exercise his, again, First Amendment rights to petition his government, and obviously his duties and responsibilities as president. So not only is it constitutionally infirm because of the Supreme Court decision, but it's an abuse of President Trump's civil rights under the color of law. To me, it's a criminal indictment in the sense that the filing was of a criminal nature. Election interference and abuse of power by the Biden-Harris regime and their underlings, Jack Smith. And I've seen this abuse of power because I've suffered through it. Judicial Watch and I were targeted with a subpoena, a grand jury subpoena, and they harassed me for 4 hours in an abusive way, arguing with me about my First Amendment rights, really. And I want to know what Congress is going to do about it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.